Surging against the shorelines of American republics from Cape Horn to the Arctic Circle, the seas of the Western Hemisphere know no national boundaries. So it is with the aspirations of Americans everywhere. Hopes spill like oncoming tides over frontiers, for everywhere there is the same thirst for freedom from dictatorship, from the bonds of economic and social injustice. Everywhere there is the desire to eliminate the age-old tyrannies of poverty, hunger, and ignorance. As President Romulo Betancourt of Venezuela has said, there is underway an irresistible process which will provide in the backward and abandoned rural areas a land to work. Schools, doctors, and medicines. The awareness that these needs can only be met by a new kind of cooperative effort was the reason why, not long ago, a presidential plane came over the water to the capital city of Venezuela, Caracas. In his inauguration speech, the newly elected President of the United States, John F. Kennedy, had said, "To our sister republics south of the border, we offer a special pledge to convert our good words to good deeds in a new alliance for progress, to assist free men and free governments in casting off the chains of poverty." Now, that alliance is in the process of being forged as President and Mrs. Kennedy step on to Latin American soil. On this, President Kennedy's first visit to Latin America, his objective is to learn about the problems at first hand from distinguished leaders like President Betancourt, and at the same time to demonstrate the great interest and concern of the people he represents for their friends to the south. The welcome received by the visitor reflects the statement of President Betancourt. We receive as friends those who are our friends. Then by helicopter from Caracas to an agricultural region 50 miles west. His purpose? To see for himself the progress of a new land reform and rural housing program at the village of El Frio. Cutting of a brightly colored ribbon will symbolize the inauguration of the first Alliance for Progress enterprise in Venezuela, a $12 million project for low-cost, self-help rural housing. A plan of scope and grandeur, given infinite meaning for the man who receives the deed of his own future home. Then, a helicopter journey on to nearby La Marita for the visiting president who views the solution of the land problem as one of the keys to progress in Latin American development. At La Marita, President Kennedy officiates at a ceremony for distribution of land titles to 86 families, the first of thousands who will so benefit. He stands beside the Venezuelan president on a wooden platform in the middle of a field where farmers will own now the land they till. The land program has already settled 38,000 families on 3,800,000 acres of their own land. It is a program calling for work and dedication, says the visitor.
This is your program, the program of your progressive, far-seeing government, and the people of my country will share in this program by making available more loans to build rural homes and more credits to finance your crops. This program is at the heart of the Alianza para el Progreso, for no real progress is possible unless the benefits of increased prosperity are shared by the people themselves.
The president then invites Mrs. Kennedy to address the audience.
Me alegro haber podido acompañar mi marido a Venezuela. La distinción y la importancia de vuestra cultura ya me eran conocidos. También me han impresionado vuestros esfuerzos por mejorar las condiciones de vida de vuestro pueblo. Yo sé que no hay esposa, ni madre, ni padre, ni familia en este continente que pueda conformarse hasta que los habitantes de todos nuestros pueblos tengan oportunidades de trabajo bien remunerados, pueden vivir decentemente y recibir enseñanza. Estas cosas deberían estar al alcance de todos y no limitarse a unos pocos afortunados.
Toward evening, the visitors leave for the return flight to Caracas. At Los Núñez, the presidential home, President and Mrs. Betancourt are hosts at a dinner and reception in honor of their North American friends. They have met nothing but warmth and cordiality everywhere they go in the homeland of the illustrious Simón Bolívar. And the next day, on the 131st anniversary of Bolívar's death, President Kennedy goes to the Pantheon and, on behalf of his country, places a wreath of tribute and respect in the tomb of the great liberator. It was Bolívar who first saw and predicted that someday the Western Hemisphere would be bound together by the closest of fraternal ties. That someday is now, the message of the American president, vigorously stressed everywhere he goes. For in his view, the inter-American system reflected in the Alliance for Progress represents not only a common goal, but a common vow to improve man's economic, social, and political well-being without sacrificing his liberties. Nor is he alone in this deeply held feeling. For in the 1960s, Americans, North and South, are more than good neighbors. They are allied in a partnership for building a better life for themselves and their children. Now, the president boards his plane for his next destination, Colombia, the gracious and heartwarming reception in Venezuela never to be forgotten. In the words of Dr. Alberto Lleras Camargo of Colombia, to meet our responsibilities, we must count on the ability of the underdeveloped people of the world to solve the problem of overpopulation, of misery, of despair, of inequality, and of injustice. The need for the American states to work together for the benefit of the people has long been advocated by the distinguished national leader of the Republic of Colombia, a nation and a people now awaiting with eager anticipation the visit of President Kennedy. At the foot of the ramp they meet. Dr. Lleras Camargo of Colombia, President Kennedy of the United States, two leaders striving to perfect the inter-American system, which was the dream of Bolívar and Santander. Much has already been done since the Alliance for Progress was announced in March of 1961. But even these impressive accomplishments must be surpassed in the face of the immense and urgent problems of poverty, hunger, and ignorance. That the people of the Americas are prepared to come to grips with these problems and meet the needs of an awakening humanity without violence, without repression, without a discipline that destroys liberty, can be seen clearly in the rousing welcome given to President and Mrs. Kennedy, a spontaneous gesture of friendship and support to the Alliance for Progress. The Techo Housing Project, where plans of the Alliance for Progress have already been translated into action. A 12,000 house development will be built in an area of 123 acres to accommodate 80,000 people. President Lleras and the visitor from North America, in the presence of the families of hundreds of workers, dedicate this housing project, as well as one of 18 new schools, in which 30,000 children will be given their first opportunity to study and to learn. Then, leaving Techo, the visitors are escorted back into the city of Bogota, where the people make no secret of how warmly they feel about their guests. President Kennedy's destination now, the offices of President Lleras, where they will discuss many issues of mutual concern. Among the foremost, the intensive effort needed to develop and industrialize the economies of Latin America, reducing dependence on raw materials. In these discussions, President Kennedy is later to report, he is strengthened in purpose and understanding by the wise counsels of one of the great statesmen of the hemisphere, Lleras Camargo. A children's hospital in Bogota. Mrs. John F. Kennedy pays a visit here where hundreds of children are being treated. Children who are now being helped along the road to recovery by medicines and techniques unavailable only a few years ago. A friendly wave, words of encouragement, and the warmest wishes of the oncoming Christmas season to the children from the First Lady of the United States. And that evening at a state dinner at San Carlos Palace, the President of the United States describes the hopes of millions for a better life and how the Alliance will meet those aspirations.
The Alianza para el Progreso is designed to transform this hope into a reality. It calls for a vast and immediate effort on the part of all the Americas to satisfy the basic needs of our people for work and land and homes and schools. It expects within the next 10 years, the decade of development, to be well on the way to satisfying these basic needs to the workers, to the campesinos on the farm, to the women who toil each day for the welfare of their children. To all we bring a message of hope every day, every hour, in my country and in this country, and in all the countries of this hemisphere. Dedicated men and women are struggling to bring nearer the day when all will have more to eat and a decent roof over their head. and schools for their children, when all will have a better and more abundant life, to accompany that human dignity to which all men are entitled, and that love of freedom to which all of us are committed by our inheritance and our desire. And tonight, here in this old city, I pledge to you the commitment of the United States of America to that great cause.
Yes, to that great cause. The massive cooperative effort to conquer the evils of poverty and injustice. And out of the toil of free men will come a better, more rewarding life for the peoples of all the countries in this hemisphere of hope.